Okay, so this is Miriam. She's been studying with me for a few days. We've met a few times. Don't know you super well, but had some professional interactions, a little bit of socializing. Miriam asked me for some feedback on her embodiment. So this is something we often offer students. We get asked this a lot. I think particularly people who are into self-awareness, they understand that you're kind of blind to your own stuff, right? So a mindfulness perspective is you're just being aware, but you can't really be aware particularly of traits. It's like the taste of your own mouth. Yeah, or your own smell. Like, I don't smell, right? I'm just used to my own smell, right? So sometimes it's really good to have that outside point of view. One of the ways we offer feedback with people is slightly roundabout, is we do different exercises, and we say, well, what was comfortable and familiar? So Miriam's got you have 6 days of that to kind of draw on. So rather than tell someone, we can say, like a little simple example, cross your arms, cross them the other way, which feels normal. You can try that now if you want, right? And one of them just feels normal. Okay, so that's feedback. Or more profoundly, we did no pose and yes pose. And some of you were like, I don't like this. And some of you were like, I don't like this. It felt uncomfortable. It felt like you were wearing someone else's trousers or shoes or whatever, right? Yeah. Someone's from the wedding last night, someone's shirt is outside, discarded. It's an uncomfortable shirt maybe. Anyway, so this is one of the other ways we give feedback. It's not really feedback, but it's helping people reveal their own patterns by noticing what feels comfortable, familiar at home. It's not really like or dislike, though that's often also part of it, because you could like the familiar or unfamiliar. Yeah. So that's the main method we use. Sometimes we just tell people, right? And that's good. Why is that good? Why is it good to just tell people?
It's direct.
It's direct, it's quick. Okay, why is it maybe not good sometimes? Why am I asking you questions now and not just telling you? Okay, so there's a couple of problems, right? Like one is like if there isn't enough trust in relationship, it could be a problem. Yeah, people just reject it. They don't own it. The guy's just your opinion. You would, or you would say that because of X. Yeah, the other could be wrong. You could be biased. So I can't look at someone else's embodiment except through my own embodiment. Okay, we're always looking through glasses. Does that make sense? So these are me, right? I'm looking through me. Yeah, so I might get a second opinion as well. Like, and we'll do this in the training team. I'll say, hey, what do you think of such and such a participant? We gossip about you in the evenings. So, oh, yeah, she's like that. Yeah, I agree. Or we might disagree. Say, no, I think this is your stuff, dude. I think you just don't like German women. It's like you've got some stuff there. So we can kind of check in with each other, and that's part of how we do it. The other thing I do is if I was making an assessment, either like observing or empathizing, did you 2 ways? So I'm looking. Okay, but I'm also feeling. It's 2 different methods, yeah. I'll check in with myself. What's my state? Like right now, I feel pretty centered. I'm a little tired, but I'm not like exhausted. Because when I'm exhausted, everyone's bad, Like I just had a snack, I've been fed by the Italians, so it's all good, Had I not been fed and, had some rest, I'm like, yeah, your problem. I kind of get a bit harsher, and I see things negatively. Ever had that? Yeah, some of you ladies, like 1 week a month, everybody else is bad, So we have our issues with food or sleep or whatever it is, our cycles or whatever. So I'm seeing through my traits and my states in our model of embodied intelligence. People can look it up. So I'm kind of fairly aware of my state right now, and I'm also aware of the relationship. It's like I like this person, right? So I feel quite warm towards this person. That's not necessarily a good thing, right? Like particularly if you really like someone. Like I had a mentee program for years, and Ava was my favorite, And I'm not sure how good my feedback would have been for her, because I was like, I love her, she's amazing. It's like a little bit like Golden Shadow or something, right? A little bit like Idealized or something like that. So maybe I wouldn't have been the best person to give feedback. Yeah, so I'm checking in. My state's reasonable, but a bit tired. So I might not be as sharp as normal, but I don't think I'm going to be like super critical. And also knowing my traits, I go, okay, we have some things in common, I think, right? So let's say, what's something you think we both have in common? This is a sort of trait.
We're both podcasters.
We're both podcasters, so this is like literally, what about embodiment terms? Anything we have in our personalities? Like, because we get on reasonably well, I think, so we've probably got some...
Straightforward.
Yeah, we're both quite German that way. We're quite straightforward, yeah? So, like, she's not going to seem straightforward to me. She's going to seem normal. Does that make sense? So that's one I have to be a little bit more aware of. Like, okay, so if I think someone's really direct, they're probably fucking direct. Okay? And if I think someone's a bit like not direct, they might just be more average. Does that make sense? Yeah? And joking aside, we have a cultural difference here, right? So you're German but live in the Netherlands currently, is that correct?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so German and English are much closer together than people would like to admit. All right, genetically we're like Anglo-Saxons, right? So there's quite a similarity, but there are still some cultural differences. And so again, I'm going to be aware of those. Other differences, gender, sexuality, other things, right? Like some of those biases I'm looking at and going, okay, so I'm seeing through a lens of my own. I don't want to get too much into this, like everyone is unconsciously prejudiced and biased, and you can go really extreme with that. But I think basically there is there's something in that. There's something in that to be flagged. And certainly some kinds of, if I'm giving feedbacks as a man to a woman, I'm like, okay, there's a dynamic or there's a bias, and like I'm not blind to that completely, yeah? Cool. Okay, so this is all going on quite quickly before I say anything about anyone, yeah? The two ways to do it, I think, one is to tell and one is to have a conversation. So Miriam, I want to demonstrate today, like, a conversation because she's been in the work, she's a practitioner, she's a trainer, she's got a high level of sophistication, so it probably makes more sense to have a conversation. And then I might disagree, I might challenge her. And we also already have a shared language. So I can, for example, with a business guy I just met, I couldn't do this. And by the way, normal people who don't do embodiment, they're often way easier and way more obvious because they're really like strongly embodying something in a direction. They're not done the personal growth work to kind of more middle grounded. So I could say for you, for example, what element do you think you most strongly embody? What do you reckon?
Earth.
Earth? Okay,
Earth
great.
and fire.
Earth and fire, yeah. By the way, culturally, that's the German ones as well. Okay, and I'll also look at her and I'm sort of checking out, like, she looks pretty earthy. If she was like, Earth! Well, I don't know, maybe Earth? Then I would challenge it. All right? And I would rather just not challenge it, I'm agreeing, but it's like, okay, fire, does that match my interactions with her? And we're different in different contexts. I was socializing with you last night, I've seen you as a student, we hung out there, we're in the sauna together. It's like, yeah, she's got that directness and that's in her body. Her movements are quite quick, for example. Right? And I could give the feedback on the level of the assessment, your fire, or a little bit more factual. I could say, you tend to move in a quite linear, direct, fast way. It's almost like Laban movement analysis terms. They're much bit more objective than the assessment of fire. Yeah? So I could go at that level of development. Okay. All right, let's talk nervous systems. This is another model you're quite familiar with. And I'm feeling this, right? Is she energizing me or relaxing me? Right? And again, I'm aware of my own state. So where would you say you're at on a sort of habitual nervous system kind of level?
I'm either in peace or activated fight.
All right, so either sort of calm, kind of slow,
Calm,
peaceful, or
yeah.
quite activated.
Yeah.
So what about the middle?
I'm not so good between the 0 and the 1.
Zero, and, okay, so it's just 0 or
The
full
decimals are not my strong suit.
And if I'm not going to do coaching today, I decided not to do coaching today, I'm a little tired, but we could coach on that, right? I could say like, okay, so what's the cost of that? 0 and 1, does that work? Maybe it works fine, there's no coaching, but maybe it doesn't. Yeah, yeah, cool. Well, we could be a bit more poetic and like embodiment-wise, what animal are you? Just fun, like I do this with kids, right?
A panther.
A panther. Okay, got it. Yeah, that fits. I'm sort of trying that on. I'm kind of micro-mimicking her a bit as well. I'm like tasting her embodiment by kind of getting into just empathy that, unless you're a sociopath, you'll do that naturally a bit. So I'm just kind of encouraging it, right? So I'm like, yeah, panther, that kind of makes sense. Like she's got that like panther-like quality in her body, right? And I could kind of show you what that's like. I could kind of mirror you a little bit. Part of feedback can be mirroring. We did the exercise of copying each other's walk, all right? So that was also feedback. Sometimes we do it standing. You can use video, but people often when they see video, they just go, oh, I'm fat and I'm old, and they get triggered by these surface things and not so much the embodiment. Yeah. Cool, okay. Another way of doing it is with the group. Embodiment-wise, who do you think you're like most unlike embodiment-wise? So we're not talking like male or female or age or anything like that, but if you look around the group, who you most like, most dislike, most unlike, who's quite different from you? This person here? Okay, won't name names just because we haven't got a kind of confidentiality agreement. All right, and what is in you, because it's not really about her, what is in your embodiment that's different? What does that say about your embodiment?
more contained, maybe more.
You feel quite contained?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. I could give you that feedback. You can be quite contained, right? Yeah. And by the way, there's nothing. Another thing, consent. We kind of, she asked for it, but one really important one generally is you don't just throw feedback at people. Yeah, I used to do this when I was young. Like, another thing, you're like this, right? If I'm giving feedback, I'm checking: is it a kind? Is it a good moment? Like, is this biased in some way? Is this revenge because she criticized me earlier or something, right? And if it's any of those things, I just not in a good state, not good. No, it has to have good intent, good state, and permission. Yeah, so like I might say, hey, is it okay if I give you some feedback?
Please.
Yeah, I kind of did that before, but just for you guys to see. And I might even say, look, hey, it's just my opinion. It's one point of view. Obviously I have some professional expertise, but you might want to check it out with someone else. So the risks are two risks. One is that the student doesn't listen and just pushes it away. Or you're just saying that. It's just you. Okay. The other risk is that they treat you as a guru and they take it too seriously. Okay, depending on the personality. So I kind of have both covered. It's like, hey, I'm a professional, I know what I'm doing, but also maybe get another point of view. It kind of puts it in that middle place when I say both those things. Depending on the student, like I might be like, this might even be like, do you think I know what I'm fucking doing? Right? I'm gonna have to really stress like I'm not an idiot. Okay, or I might have to go, you know what, I could be wrong, I could be so wrong, just, I know you tend to take things to heart, so this is just one point of view, Like I might have to really downplay it, yeah? Okay, so that's calibrated to the students. Another moment is like, is this a good moment? I'm not a very tactful person, but the art of tact is now good, is she regulated? And I might actually ask to, take a breath. I might make a joke, like I'm going to tell everyone on camera all the worst things about you. I might make a little joke just to kind of loosen the moment, right? Yeah, great. So I don't see anything like super jumping out, Like when you ask me this, like sometimes I've really got a strong opinion. But yeah, grounded, kind of earthy, maybe some trauma. We won't get into that, but not like hardcore. You need to see a therapist right away. You don't feel dysregulated to me. I agree on the assessment of earth and fire. I think you have quite a good range, which for someone who's done quite a lot of personal growth work makes sense. Of the elements, which is your one to work on? Would you say?
I thought it was water.
Uh-huh.
And then realized that I think when I'm regulated and when I'm in a good state,
Yeah.
I'm actually watery. When I facilitate, when I'm interviewing, I'm very watery.
Yeah.
And then maybe the air might...
Okay, so it could be those water and air ones, and there might be ones to develop, and it's like, what is it that's different about this other person you looked at? That might also indicate a positive and a negative, right? Yeah. So another way we could work with this is name a positive trait that you embody. And some people would have no idea. I'd have to tell them, right? But in her case, I can ask her.
Structure?
Structure. Okay. And what's the negative side of that?
Rigidity.
Rigidity, right? German classic. Okay. All right. So rigidity, yeah. So and now you see how we're getting to this. Equally, someone with very bad self-esteem, we might have to go the opposite way. They'd say, oh my God, I'm so rigid. I'm so rigid. I say, yeah, but you have really good structure, right? That could be part of the feedback, is just encouraging them. And I think that sort of kind encouragement's part of it, yeah? I'm not seeing anything super clever to sort of name and jump out. Sometimes I might be looking for armoring bands. You're a bit fighty though, huh? You see that? You're a little bit fighty. That's the fieriness. So that's sort of reinforcing the assessment so far, yeah? Nervous system-wise, I'm agreeing with you. Is there anything you particularly like feedback on, particular aspects of embodiment?
Yeah, I think the resistance. I think I can be contained and maybe defensive.
Yeah, push. Yeah, okay. So I can also sort of make an assessment from feeling, right? Some people I do that with, do it to me, I'll show you some push. Okay, other people just sort of stand there. She was straight in, it's rah, I was like, whoa, okay, easy. So it's this is part of the somatic assessment. I might try things out. Or I might say, how does it feel to be super open like this? Yeah, soften the eyes, soften the jaw. So now we're not telling someone something, we're just giving a little experiment to do it together, yeah. How's that?
I find it slightly scary.
Slightly vulnerable, slightly scary, right? Yeah. Okay, won't do it for too long, yeah. So that's kind of reinforcing that maybe what she's saying about boundaries and what I'm seeing is probably there's something in it. So we're always guessing, we're always just saying, hey, try this on, yeah. Last thing I might say, okay, can I just check your takeaways from this? Yeah, there's just really to check. Sometimes people, I'll say, hey, you're a bit open, and they'll say, you're saying I'm too X, and they'll put it into a frame which isn't helpful, or just misunderstood it. So what's your takeaway from this little session?
On which level?
In terms of your own embodiment.
Okay.
So we're basically giving you some feedback, but often it's kind of an inquiry together, right?
Yeah.
So reflection on this whole week, really.
I think it was a good confirmation of my own self-assessment.
Yeah, great, which is worth doing, right? Because our self-assessments are very biased, so it's really worth checking that out.
And what I'm taking away from that is that I can then, as a second step, trust my intuition of what I think I need to or want to work on as the next step.
So it's like, hey, I was going to work on this, and Mark seems to think I'm not a complete idiot, so that's good. And
So I can trust that.
Yeah, people don't have to be idiots. Like, joking aside, like, depending on the amount of personal growth work they've done, or if there's like shadow content involved, people can be really off. So like super worth getting peer feedback or teacher feedback to, we have peer groups in our coaching courses. And one of the things I've said, I'm going to say next year for our peer groups on the coaching course is challenge each other more. Because there was a lot of people this year who were having bizarre self-assessments. And then when they were supervised, the supervisor was like, what the fuck? Because everyone was being a bit nice. Yeah, and one of the peer groups like, oh, okay, not challenging each other, but it's really important, yeah. And in a group's even better, right? Because that way, if one person has a bias, it kind of triangulates between the group, yeah. All right, final things, or should we leave it there? We're good?
I was hoping for some
Yeah.
feedback.
And
That's a fighter in me. Like, what can I work on?
And that is part of the feedback, right? So that urge to like, give me it harder, like it's got to be stronger. Like, it's like, okay, cool. I think we're good.
Thank you.
Dankeschön.